You know what you need to do. You've made the plan, set the intention, told yourself this time will be different, and then, right when it matters most, you do the exact thing that guarantees you'll fail. You procrastinate, you pick a fight, you quit before anyone can see you struggle, and afterward you tell yourself the same story. I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, I don't want it badly enough. But here's the truth. You're not sabotaging yourself because you're broken. You're sabotaging yourself because part of your brain is trying to protect you. Self-sabotage isn't a character flaw. It's a defense mechanism. And once you understand why it happens, you can start to interrupt it. Let's start with cognitive dissonance, the concept developed by psychologist Leon Festinger in the 1950s. It's the mental discomfort you feel when your actions don't match your beliefs. If you believe, I'm not the kind of person who succeeds, and then you start succeeding, your brain experiences tension. And the fastest way to resolve that tension is to do something that confirms the original belief. You sabotage the success so your internal story stays consistent. This sounds irrational, and it is, but your brain isn't optimized for accuracy, it's optimized for predictability. A painful identity that's familiar feels safer than a positive identity that's unfamiliar. This is why people who grow up in chaotic environments often recreate chaos in their adult lives, even when they desperately want peace. It's not because they enjoy suffering, it's because suffering is what they know. Then there's learned helplessness, a concept discovered by psychologist Martin Seligman. In his experiments, animals who were repeatedly exposed to inescapable stress eventually stopped trying to escape, even when escape became possible. They had learned that their actions didn't matter, and that belief carried over into new situations. The same thing happens in humans. If you've failed enough times or been hurt enough times, your brain starts to predict failure automatically. And when it predicts failure, it protects you by making you stop trying. Self-sabotage isn't the problem, it's the symptom. One of the most surprising findings in self-sabotage research comes from Harvard. It turns out that fear of success is often stronger than fear of failure. Success comes with expectations, visibility, the possibility of losing what you've gained. For people who grew up in environments where standing out was dangerous, success feels like a threat. So the brain does what it's designed to do. It removes the threat by ensuring you don't succeed. Here's the hard part. You can't logic your way out of self-sabotage. You can't just decide to stop. Because the behavior isn't happening at the level of conscious choice, it's happening at the level of identity. And identity change doesn't come from motivation, it comes from evidence. The first tool is identity reframing, a concept from habit researcher James Clear. Instead of setting goals, you shift identity. Instead of, I want to write a book, you say, I'm a writer. And then you act in ways that make that identity true, even in small ways. Write one sentence, show up for 5 minutes. Over time, the brain stops resisting because the new identity has become familiar. The second tool is shrinking the first step. Self-sabotage often shows up as massive resistance at the point of starting. So you don't try to overcome the resistance, you make the first step so small that resistance doesn't even activate. Not write for an hour, open the document. Not go to the gym, put on gym clothes. Once you're in motion, the brain's threat response quiets. You're not sabotaging yourself because you're weak. You're sabotaging yourself because part of you is scared and it's trying to keep you safe. The work isn't to fight that part, it's to show it through action that the new path is safe too. Subscribe to Quiet Wiring. Next time, we'll talk about procrastination and why it's not a time management problem, it's an emotion problem.